Gazing at my reflection in the bathroom's full-length mirror, a smile crossed my face. At 46, I still maintained a figure that was both slender and curvaceously appealing. My breasts, large and firm, stood out prominently. Though my hips had broadened with age, my stomach remained flat, and thanks to diligent workouts prescribed by my personal trainer, my behind stayed firm. Clad in my most enticing set of lingerie, a delicate ensemble of black lace and sheer nylon designed more to delight my partner than for modesty, I pondered over Zane's preferences. Dismissing the thought, I slipped into the red dress that my husband adored. Its length was modest, yet it flirted with the boundaries of allure, offering a glimpse of cleavage sufficient to captivate without crossing into vulgarity. It was the perfect choice to entice my husband. Positioned at my vanity, I meticulously straightened my hair, a task made easier by the professional styling I had opted for in light of the evening's significance. The expense was justified, in my opinion. Opting for a subtle touch with my makeup, I aimed for the understated elegance Zane had once complimented, highlighting what he considered one of my finest attributes. Our frequent lunches had gradually evolved from casual meetings to more intimate conversations. Zane, with his timeless charm, could be described as nothing short of dashing, a term that might seem dated but aptly suits him. Matching me in years, his fashion sense and demeanor harked back to the era of classic film stars, much to my husband's appreciation. And it would be remiss not to acknowledge Zane's striking looks, the defined square jaw, a noble Roman nose, and captivating blue eyes that were unlike any I had encountered. His physique bore the fruits of his commitment to fitness, a shared interest that had subtly nudged our relationship from purely professional to distinctly personal. The shift in our conversations from professional topics to personal ones began the day he inquired about my gym, marking a departure from our usual discussions. His compliments started to flow more freely, and I couldn't help but interpret these gestures as the early stages of what one might call an office romance. It all started innocently enough. A kind word about my attire, noticing a new hairstyle, a fleeting touch. These were the initial steps on a path that led a once contentedly married woman toward a precarious edge. This evening marked a pivotal moment in escalating our previously understated interactions. Zane proposed that we venture out for dinner accompanied by martinis, an invitation I mulled over for 2 days before accepting. My hesitance wasn't rooted in dissatisfaction with my marriage. Rather, my husband and I had settled into a comfortable routine. Zane, on the other hand, represented an exhilarating novelty, a rush of excitement that stirred a newfound addiction within me. As I finished applying my makeup with precision, a satisfied smile played on my lips. I was confident in the knowledge that he would find me irresistible in this state. My intention was clear: to leave an unforgettable impression, and I was determined not to fall short of perfection. My train of thought was momentarily interrupted by the sound of the garage door opening. True to form, Louis had arrived right on schedule. Predictability was his hallmark. My preparations took his habits into account, timing his entry to the minute. I anticipated the moment he would step into the kitchen, only to realize dinner wasn't awaiting him. His search commenced on the ground floor, yielding no sign of my presence. It was essential for my strategy that he discovers me attired for an evening stroll through the city. This unveiling was a crucial element of my plans for the night. The moment Zane proposed a date, the implications were clear to both of us. We were adults, fully aware of the expectations such an invitation carried. I was prepared to meet those expectations. He went to lengths to ensure the evening would be special, securing a table at the restaurant I adored, followed by drinks at my preferred jazz club, and capping the night with a room booked at the Hyatt. His home wasn't an option, given he too was married, and involving our spouses would only lead to unnecessary complications. I was confident, however, that my husband Louis would find a way to forgive and move past this. Our bond was strong enough to withstand this. Yet, I couldn't keep this a secret from him. It was imperative that I be upfront about my plans for the night. My confidant, Carla, was convinced this was a grave mistake, arguing that Louis' forgiveness wasn't as guaranteed as I believed. But after sharing 23 years of life with him, I felt I understood Louis better than anyone, confident in my knowledge of him. As Lou's call came through, I gave myself a final once-over. It was crucial that I presented myself in the best possible light when he walked in. I aimed for a look that combined elegance with a hint of allure, selecting my outfit with care. Slipping into my heels, I then rummaged through my collection for the perfect purse to complete the ensemble. Upon his arrival, I inhaled sharply, stepping out from the vicinity of the wardrobe, ready to deliver my important message. "Hey, baby," he greeted, his smile wide and welcoming. "Why are you so dressed up?" With a heavy heart, I knew it was time. "Louis, I need you to sit down. I have something to tell you, and it may be difficult for you to hear." His expression turned to one of bewildered concern, yet he complied, taking a seat near the window. "Louis, I chose this outfit for our date today. I aim to offer my man the very best in every aspect, from the way I look to the depth of my soul." His expression turned sorrowful, igniting a fear within me that I might have hurt him deeply. "My love, I've been having lunch with a colleague from work, Zane, on several occasions each week." Observing a tear trickle down his cheek, I mustered up the courage to proceed with my explanation. No, it wasn't an affair. There was no physical intimacy of any sort. No holding hands, no embraces, no kisses. "Louis." He was cradling his head in his hands. With a weary motion, he swept his fingers through his hair, casting a glance my way that carried the weight of defeat. Silence hung between us. "Louis, he's asked me out to dinner tonight, and I want to be completely transparent with you about it. He's even made arrangements for a hotel room. I regret to inform you that it took me 2 days to accept his invitation. I thought that it wouldn't constitute cheating if I were honest with you." His gaze shifted to the window, a distant look in his eyes, before he spoke. "Are you sorry for the delay or sorry that you accepted? And remember, it's not cheating only if I give my consent." Exhaling deeply, I said, "Louis, you've been the love of my life for the better part of my adulthood, exclusively you. I thought I was entitled to it. A brief hiatus from our relationship. Do you understand?" "No, not at all," he replied without hesitation. I acknowledged his response with a nod. "That explains my attire. I mentioned earlier that I'm dressed up for my man. And Louis, that man is you. You always will be." "I'm confused. You mentioned that this fool reserved the room and you consented." "Yes, that's true. I did agree, but I called off the rendezvous at noon today." "What made you decide that?" "While I was at my desk today, I felt a rush of excitement, a real surge of desire, but it wasn't Zane who sparked it. My eyes had landed on a picture of us together on the beach in Cancun. You were there, without a shirt, just in your swim shorts. My God, you looked incredible in that picture. It was in that instant I understood that Zane wasn't what I wanted. I already had everything I needed in you." He shifted his back towards me. Closing the distance, I wrapped my arms around him from behind. "Louis, I realize I must come clean about my intentions. I acted foolishly, and for that, I deeply apologize. My hope is that you can look past this brief lapse in judgment and consider taking me out tonight." I mistakenly attributed Zane's sentiments to us, rather than to him, primarily. I sensed him inhaling sharply. "Louis, darling, what's the situation with Zane, that jerk?" I grinned and pivoted towards him. I rang up his wife and spilled the beans. "Zane's facing a much larger issue now than just me backing out of our meeting. Yet you had given your consent. Yes, I'm aware, and it's a blunder I must bear, but I'm asking for your forgiveness," I confessed. He let out a derisive snort. "You only did that to soothe your own guilt." I collapsed onto my knees. "Please forgive me. I was a fool." He raised my face, looking into my eyes. "I will forgive you, but you have broken my trust. This is something I can't forget." "I understand. I promise never to give you cause to question my loyalty again." Following my admission, I indulged him in every manner he wished. I followed his commands and acted upon every fantasy he conjured. Our lovemaking was intense, almost as though he sought to discipline me for undermining his trust. Eventually, amidst shared moans, we reached the climax. He then distanced himself and looked at me with a furrowed brow. This won't fix us. I was aware. Neither our intimate moments nor our dates could erase it. A year on, the emotional hurt remained palpable. There was a noticeable change in him, and I sensed it. Our physical intimacy became slightly more intense. My phone occasionally wasn't where I had placed it, and there were moments I suspected he was tracking me. Damaging someone's trust is the gravest error. It's akin to mending a shattered dish. It might hold together, but it's never as sturdy as it once was. This is my burden to bear, and it weighs heavily. Some might argue that revealing the truth was unnecessary, asking why cause him pain. Others might contend he ought to have left me, labeling me a ticking time bomb for infidelity. It's challenging to dispute such views, yet I understand who I am. I'm confident in my resilience. I've teetered on the edge before, but I managed to pull back and close that chapter. I'm determined never to lose control to that extent again.